It's my honor to present Mr. Habeeb Habeeb.
Good afternoon. I wanted to put my best foot forward for you. Guess what I did? I have my fun socks on for you. You like them? Well, I was introduced as Habeeb Habeeb, and yes, it's the same first and last name. And you know, I know there was a confusion in the names, but if I wrote my name for you, you will not wonder which one is the first and which one is the second, because it's the same. And you know how it happened? They asked my parents what to name me, and my parents stuttered. That was a joke. I was born in Lebanon, and that's not Lebanon, Indiana, not Lebanon, Tennessee. It was Lebanon, way far away, 7,000 miles away. And in 1973, I wanted to come to the States to be a doctor and go back. I didn't intend to stay in the States, but I was 17 only. How many here are 17? Wow. I was just 17. I was the shyest guy in the world. Shyer than probably the shyest person here in this room. But I had great grades. I was the first in my immediate family to want to finish college. They wanted to finish college, my parents, and they didn't have a chance. And I thought I would be a doctor, go back, and be rich forever, and provide for them. Only 17 months after I came, war started in Lebanon. That was in the 70s, and it lasted for 15 years. I was literally stuck in America. I was not street savvy. You know, I was the shy guy. I did not know how to get along here. I only knew English, because I learned English from kindergarten. Along with my native language, I knew English very well. I knew British English. I didn't know the slang, but I was not street savvy in America. And yet, America has been a great country for me. And I have a special year this year. This 4th of July will be my 40th 4th of July in America, 4-0. I thought you would like it because this is about public service and about politics, and I'm here to tell you that America is a wonderful country. I know America has struggles, but many countries have struggles. And I have encountered so many great things in America. The most important of them is nobody tells you not to succeed. And if there's a special message I can give you, I have a daughter and a son. We have two. And her name is Hannah, and she's 23 years old. She will be 24 this year. I try to tell her not to let anybody tell her she cannot do something. And that's the same thing I'm telling you. Don't let anybody tell you you cannot accomplish it. No matter who you are and what your background is, and when I get done telling you my story, you will agree, you can do anything you want. So I'm the shy guy. I'm here. And all of a sudden, war started in Lebanon. I did not know where my parents were because they were running away from place to place to stay safe. I did not have a penny. They lost everything they had. And this is way before smartphones and emails and texts and everything. We had phones, landline phones, rotary, and we had regular snail mail. The phones were cut to Lebanon, and the mail was not going through. So there were times I did not know for months whether they were alive or not, dead or alive. I came straight, by the way, from Lebanon to Olivet Nazarene University in Kankakee, Bourbonnais. Who's there? Anybody? Yeah. And I came straight there. So I've lived in Illinois since '73. And I was stuck sometimes not knowing where they were. I ran out of money. I could not continue my college. I started working at Arby's on Kennedy Drive in Bradley, Illinois. It was an old yellow top like a wagon for $1.65 an hour. And the way I got that job, I had not a girlfriend, but a girl space friend that was a student with me. She was my friend. And she was working there, and she knew I needed money. And I said, I need to find a job because I don't have a penny. And that was my last semester that they were going to let me stay in school because afterwards I couldn't afford to pay them anything. She said, Arby's is hiring. I said, oh, are you kidding? I don't know anything about the food industry. And besides, if I get hired, they may put me on the counter. I'm too shy. I wouldn't know what to do. She said, oh, no, they'll hire you. They hired me. Where did they put me? On the counter. Anyway, I struggled with my accent and everything, and I could not afford to fail because there was not a dad or a mom or a house I can go to at the end of the day when I didn't succeed and say, I didn't make it. I'm going to just be with you guys. I had to make it on my own, so I could not afford to fail. They needed dishes done. I did the dishes. The bathrooms needed to be cleaned. I did the bathrooms. I just did whatever it took. Within a month, I was promoted to be an assistant manager. I'm the kid from Lebanon that doesn't know anything, and I'm now an assistant manager. Just the only thing that kept me going was my belief that I had to do it. And I learned it from my parents. I'll tell you a little more about that in a minute. So I got promoted. And I got promoted after that to manager. I got promoted to district manager, and I moved to Champaign as a district manager because the company was from there, and I've lived in Champaign since '85. But I always wanted to finish school. I married somebody that I met at Olivet from Southern Illinois. Who knows where Mulkeytown is? Wow, one hand. It's next to Benton, Christopher Sesser. She's from down south. It's a town of 200 only. She's shy too, by the way. I'm not shy anymore. Anyway, we moved to Champaign. I've been in Champaign since we got married, had 2 children. I always wanted to be in school, and then war ended in Lebanon. I was able to bring my parents here, and they lived with us for a little bit before they passed away. The good news, though, is I have seen so many people in America that were so kind to me. One thing that happened to me at Olivet in college, the power of kindness, is that I didn't have a penny, and they were going to break for 1 month. And everybody went home for Christmas. The cafeteria was closed for a whole month. I was living off of the food from the cafeteria, basically. I did not have money for food for 1 month. The last day of school, I opened my P.O. box in college, and there was a white envelope, plain. It says Habeeb, P.O. Box 683, Olivet. I opened it, there was a piece of paper and a check for $100. Actually, I'm sorry, a $100 bill. And it says on the piece of paper, we thought you may need this. I did the math, because I'm good at math. And if you take inflation into consideration, it's like giving me today $800. I had plenty of food for the whole month, plenty of money to spend that. I walked around to all my friends. I said, who did that? I was so affected, nicely affected by it. No, they said, we don't know. And I finally found one person, one of my friends said, Habeeb, if they wanted you to know, they would have told you. So, to me, America has been kind all along. How do I give that back? That's one reason I like kindness. I like kindness because my parents, my dad didn't finish high school because of World War I. My mom didn't finish college. She had an associate degree, not a 4-year degree because of World War II. Yet, even though they were not highly educated, this is what I learned from them. We had orchards in Lebanon, and Dad would hire migrant workers. They would come from Syria at the time. Uneducated, brute guys. They would work in our orchards with a hand pick. We didn't have machines. Only big farmers could afford the machines. They would work by hand all day. And at the end of the day, they sit in the back of the house, and they would, to eat, they would have bread, sugar, and hot tea. They used the bread for carbs, sugar for energy, and hot tea just for the liquid. That's all they can afford to do. They would work all summer and save every penny, eat very cheaply, and save every penny to go back to their homes in Syria and provide for their family in winter. My dad and mom would notice them. Even after paying them for the day, they would feel compassion for them, and they would make them a meal. This is the uneducated parents taking care of a migrant worker that they already paid. Kindness from my parents, kindness from an American person who helped me when I didn't have a penny, didn't know how I would eat for a month. I learned to be kind all the time. I learned integrity from my parents too. My dad, again, the guy that didn't finish high school, went to cash his check one time at a bank. And this is ages ago, 1960s, I think. And money was not plentiful for us. We were not rich. So he goes in, gets his paycheck, gives it to the teller, and she gives him change. And you know, back then in Lebanon, you don't just count the change, because if you're counting the change in front of her, She thinks, what, you don't think I can count? So you just take it and you go. He took it, went outside. He's always cautious, opens his, takes out the money from his pocket and counts it. She gave him the wrong change. So he goes back in. He goes, Madame, you gave me the wrong change. She goes, Monsieur George, we're a bank. We don't give wrong change. He said, well, you may want to count it. So she starts counting it, and it was 300 Lebanese liras he was supposed to get. She gave him 400 Lebanese liras, just like an extra $100. And she got flushed in the face. This guy just is going to save my job by giving me back the money. My father could have easily taken the money and went home. We needed the money. Could have thought, it's a bank. They have a ton of money, a lot more than us. Yet gave it back to her. What did he do? He came back and told his kids the story. And I bet you that has been 50 years ago? 45 years ago, maybe. I remember that story from my dad because he was a model for me about integrity. Should I give back money that doesn't belong to me? And the key that you learn from this story is no matter how old you are, everything you do in life, the world is a stage. Everybody's watching. Your friends are watching. Your future college friends will be watching you. Your spouses will be watching you. Your kids will be watching you. And everything you do matters. So what I want to do in life is I want to be a good role model. Hollywood is not always a good role model. Politicians are not a good role model. And yet, I know I can be a good role model. And the key, the good story too, is you can. There's, I don't know, 400 people here today, 300? Every one of you could be a force of good in life. I still don't know who gave me that $100 bill in 1975, December. I've told the story 100 times, maybe 500 times, and it still impacts me for the better. One day, you will do something, and 20 years later, somebody will thank you for it. That's the power of kindness. That's the power of integrity. So I want to treat my employees at work the same way. Remember I said I have a daughter, I have a son. So when I look at my employees, and we have 60 of them, and I really want to tell them what they did was wrong, or I don't really care. I'm having a bad day, and I don't care maybe what they're thinking. Or I really care about the money more than I care about the employee. You know what makes me want to treat them well? I think of Hannah, and I think of Paul, and I think of my wife Joy, and I say, if they were working for somebody, if they were working for that Habeeb, how would I want them to be treated? And so I go over and I encourage my employee. If she's a female, I'll encourage her. If she's a male, I'll encourage her. If it's a manager, I'll make sure my manager encourages their employees. Why? Because I want to treat them like I want my family to be treated. So that's another example in life that I want to take. And I want you to remember, if we can have a force, an army of people believing in the same stuff, the world will be a different place. Remember, I said I love America, but yet look, how many bad things do we hear in the news? You start making our own news. This is what I will say. Let's start making our own news instead of just listening to the bad news. If we have 400 people saying good things to people, it may become 800. The 800 may become 1,600, and then we have 20,000 people loving the world and loving life. A great book about encouragement is Silver Boxes. You may want to remember that. I'll tweet about it. Kristen, will you tweet about it? Okay. Tweet or Instagram or something. By the way, Instagram is HG Habeeb, right? And my regular Habeeb on Facebook is Habeeb Squared, but I know you're not on Facebook anymore. But on Twitter, it's Habeeb Habeeb. So anyway, if you remember Silver Boxes, this is the premise of the book Silver Boxes. A lady was talking, she was preaching. She was come to preach. And she started asking the kids about one verse. It says, let no unwholesome words come out of your mouth except what's good for edification. She said, what's edification? They said, encouragement. This is young kids talking. She said, what is unwholesome talk? They said, bad words. And then one of the kids stood up and said, you know, what she really means is that everything we say to one another should be like a gift. Wow, what a great idea. Somebody else stood up and said, and the gift should be wrapped with silver wrapping and put a bow on top. What would happen if every word I tell you is like Christmas to you? So every word I tell you, instead of saying, you're dumb, you're stupid, your hair doesn't look great, if everything that I tell you is an encouragement and uplifting, you will have endorphins. You will have so much energy that you will go and pass it on. So my encouragement also is to go find somebody. Is it your mom? Is it your dad? Is it your friend? Find somebody who needs one word of encouragement and tell them what they mean to you. If they don't mean anything to you, tell them something good about themselves, and you will get it back. Frequently, I'm telling people good things, and you won't believe how many times it comes back to me. Everything I do for people, I get it back multiple times. I'm going to be aware of the time clock here. I'm still good. There's a song, old song, called Hero, where it starts, where have all the good men gone, and where are all the gods? Where is the street-white Hercules to fight the rising odds? I need a white knight upon a fiery steed. Late at night, I toss and I turn, and I dream of what I need. I need a hero. Do you know that song? It was covered. It was really old, but it's covered, right? And you know what? Everybody is looking for that hero. Who are you looking for? I'm not your hero. They're not your hero. You are the hero. You're the hero because you make change in people's lives. You're the hero because you can encourage them. You're the hero because you can lift them up. And we may have the next senator in this room. We may have the next president of the United States in this room. Not the next one, maybe a future one. And I know, yeah, that will be young, wouldn't it? I know that you can make a difference. So I hope you do think about that. Think about kindness. Think about what you can do, what you can say. Why is it important? I was the shyest guy. This is the third time I tell you I was the shyest guy in the world. We were three boys. My mother told me something kind when I was a kid that I remember it to this day. So my older brother was mischievous. He was always in trouble. My younger, I was the angel, complete angel, seriously. Not because I tell you, just because I was too shy not to be an angel. I was just always wanted to do everything right. And my younger brother was in between. So I was the best kid in the family as far as, following rules and everything. Never got swatted. And then you're a guy. Guys are really rough on one another. And I was one time questioning whether I can make it in a world of guys. And my mother said the following to me, and I remembered it all my life. That gave me energy for a long time. She said, no, Habeeb, don't worry about it. You are special, and you will get places sometime, somewhere in the future. So as I was doubting myself, one word that my mom said carried with me for a long time. So when I was struggling here in America alone, I would tell myself, remember what Mom said. Mom said, you're special, you can do it. What is that word that you're going to tell your friend that they will remember 50 years from now and that you will make their life? And remember that I told you, you are special, you can be a hero, and you can make a difference in the world.